Into Las Vegas, San Bernardino.
Hello and welcome back to the PetToon channel. Well, in typical PetToon channel style, we're going to take on some big issues today, and to do that we're going to head straight to Ask Johnny. G'day Johnny, it's great to be back here in the beautiful PetToon studios for another Ask Johnny. G'day Johnny, and how are you today? Welcome to the PetToon channel. Good on ya. Yeah. Now Johnny, we've got Rhonda here from Norway and the PetToon studios, and the PetToon channel is huge in Norway, let me tell ya. Hello to all our Norwegian followers. But Johnny, we've got Rhonda here, and she asked, Johnny, I've heard that people working for Amazon are being hired and fired by an app. Could this be true, Johnny? Is humanity just slipping away? Your thoughts on this would be invaluable. Signed, Rhonda. Well, Johnny, that's a big one to start the week. What do you think? Amazon? Humanity? Oh, look. Well, Amazon have been heading this way for quite some time, but so has all of humanity.
Amazon. Workers have often complained about the unfair monitoring and lack of human oversight, but Amazon has maintained its system. That is a bit worrying that an app might sack you for things that aren't your fault, like a traffic jam or incorrect directions. And it's such an obvious, glaring example of the process of dehumanization that happens at the business end of capitalism, the pinnacle of capitalism.
Yeah, that's right, I'm following you. Yeah, back in the day when we were all cavemen, missing links, every one of us, we used to hunt and gather and hunt. And after a while, some bright caveman, probably a Neanderthal, he came up with the idea and said, if we keep these chickens close at hand in a little sort of a fenced-in area, chickens? Little chickens?
The red jungle fowl, or Gallus gallus, is a tropical member of the pheasant family. It is thought to be ancestral to the domestic chicken, with some hybridization with the grey jungle fowl.
We won't have to go looking for them. They'll just lay their eggs in the area that we've set aside. So they fed the primitive chickens, and the primitive chickens thought, this is not a bad lurk. These blokes off cavemen, they're feeding us and giving us a bit of shelter. We'll hang around. And back in the day too, in the old Ice Age Neanderthal days, the same thing happened to buffalo. The cavemen said, why are we hunting these buffalo all over the place when if we looked after them and built a bit of a rough sort of a fence and protected them, we wouldn't have to hunt them. Yeah, that's right, I'm following you. And that's called domestication. Same with pigs. Oh, Jesus, there were wild boars back in the bloody day. Back in the Ice Age, the bloody things would kill you. Now we've bred them to be pigs, as we know and love. Pigs, every farmer had a couple of pigs. But they became a commodity too, and they went from being wild pigs slopping around in the mud, being able to do what they want in their little paddock. They went from that to this. Oh no, that sounds like bullshit. Now back then though, your chooks and your buffalo or your cows, they were quite valuable, and they held a certain amount of esteem because without them you'd probably bloody starve, and so they were valuable to the people. But as capitalism has gone on, chooks went from this to this. Then they go to KFC. And cows, they went from this to this. Right, but Johnny, what's domesticating pigs and chooks? What's that got to do with Amazon? If we've been doing that to animals for 10,000 years, it's no surprise that companies like Amazon look upon workers as fully expendable, and they even say that they like a high turnover of workers because new workers are more keen and don't get too complacent because they're new and they want to impress the boss. Yeah, that could be true. After about 6 months, and then they don't give a shit whether he leaves or not because they're just going to get someone else in. Yeah, like zombies. People have turned into like the little battery chickens. Fuck 'em, there's plenty of more people out there who want this job more than them, so we'll get them in instead. But surely that's not right, Johnny. But I've said this before on the PetToon channel, Johnny. Does anyone really give a shit? There's no curiosity about what's going to happen in years to come. No one sort of cares. And I think we have to become more curious. People have said I'm very curious from time to time. So Amazon doesn't really need anybody there to hire and fire people? Yeah, right. And they just put someone on, expecting them to only last about 6 months. After about 6 months, they say, this is not working out, Johnny. We need someone in here who can get the job done, so fuck off. Yeah, that could be true. So, in light of what we've been doing to animals for the last 10,000 years, it's only to be expected that big business will do the same with people. Well, I hope the powers that be at Amazon have been listening to that, Johnny. But we've got another letter here, and it's from Yuki. And she's in Tokyo, and hello to all the millions of PetToon followers in Tokyo. There is millions of you. And Yuki goes on to say, Konnichiwa, Johnny. The Olympics are upon us. 80% of the population of Japan do not want them to continue. Help us, Johnny. Is there not a pandemic? For the love of all that is holy, help us, Johnny. Help us. Signed, Yuki. And she's put kiss, kiss, kiss. Good on you, Yuki. Johnny, what do you think about that? Yeah, the Olympics. We did a hard-hitting expose here at the PetToon channel on the Olympics about 6 weeks ago, and we questioned whether they should have gone ahead then. But now they're right upon us, and poor old Yuki isn't. He's written to us in desperation for me to use all my powers of persuasion and my influence to try and help her. Yeah, that's right, I'm following you. And what happens to all the bloody buildings after such Olympics? Have a look at this.
Let's see what has been happening to all of the Olympic buildings once used in London. We can tell you, at $14.8 billion spent, London spared no expense in getting ready to house these tournaments. But head over to Stratford in London, and you'll see the abandoned remains of the 2012 Olympic Games. Derelict buildings that are fenced off are a common sight.
Yeah, and this. And as I said 6 weeks ago, no one's bloody asked us if Queensland, who's vying for the Olympics right as we speak, Queensland actually wants the Olympics. God damn it, Johnny, you've got to do something. And another thing that seems to be watering down the Olympics is everybody changing countries. You get people from around the world coming to another country and saying, I'm American, I'm an Australian, when it's pretty bloody obvious they aren't. Yeah, that could be true. Now, sometimes here on Australian news, we get the headlines, hard-hitting headlines that say, Australian held in captivity in China. And then they show a picture of him. And he's living in China, but he applied for Australian citizenship, so that makes him an Australian. But it's obvious, he's not an Australian. Yeah, that's right, I'm following you. It's like me going to live in Mozambique. Mozambique? And becoming a citizen over there, why in God's name I'd want to, I don't know, but just say I did. And I made the Mozambique Olympic bobsled team, and when they took a photo, there's these three black guys, Mozambikians, and here's me grinning. It's fucking obvious I'm not a Mozambican. Yeah, right. And what about if I went to live in China? China? And took out citizenship, which I'm not sure you can even do, but just say I did. And I come back home to Australia here and got arrested for some bloody journalistic stuff-up. I'm sure the Chinese newspapers back in Beijing, they wouldn't put it on the headlines there and say, Chinese man arrested in Australia, and show my silly face. Yeah, that could be true. So here in Australia, we have a thing that's called State of Origin Rugby League. Yeah, that could be true. And When you're playing these, the two states are vying together for this bloody trophy or whatever it is. But you've got to go back to your state of origin, where you first started as a young lad, and you play for that team. Well, we might have to do a country of origin Olympics. Yeah, it's a problem, all right. Perhaps you've got to be actually born in the country that you participate in the Olympics for. So are you saying to never have the Olympics again? So, Johnny and Yuki, in summing up, despite what's going on over there with this coronavirus, which is a bloody disaster waiting to happen anyway, I think Olympics should start heading back to state of origin and you play for the country where you were born. Yeah, that's right, I'm following you. Otherwise, it's just going to be a great big fuck up that no one cares about. God damn it, Johnny, you've got to do something.
Been to Las Vegas, San Bernardino.
What another load of bumpkin we've come up with on the Pet Toon channel. But I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been hard-hitting as usual. We'll be back in the near future with another show. And until then, I'll see ya. Oh yeah, pigs too, yeah.